What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben and welcome back to the bench. We are here with the Ventura. This is episode number 5. Last time we worked on the fuselage and the wings, so now we're going to push forward on the horizontal stabilizers and the tail, as well as the nose and anything else we can figure out, like the drop tanks, bombs, all that good stuff. First off, though, we have to take a look at this rear tail because Revell and Monogram, for that matter, have this horrible habit of embossing their logo and the date and place of manufacture onto their parts. In this case, we have one of these on the rear tail. Let me go ahead and clip these out and I'll show you what I'm talking about. You can see right here, yep, we've got a copyright, we got the model manufacturer and the place of origin. So we need to go ahead and remove that because we can't have that on our model. So I'm going to use some basic jeweler files. We're just going to edge these down. We're going to take some sandpaper, get this all squared away, turn our attention to the nose, and then, of course, the horizontal stabilizers. So let's go ahead and get this thing moving and push forward. All right, everybody, so we moved our attention over to the gun pod here. Now, the nose of the Ventura has this 350 cal machine gun pod that hangs down off of the front end there. So we've gone ahead and opened up all of the shell ejection ports to give this thing a little bit more 3D effect. I've also gone ahead and painted the inside black, and we're going to put a little bit of basic styrene cardstock right here, kind of a blank off plate, so you can't see up inside the front of the nose. So we're just going to seal that off to give it that nice darkened effect. So once that's glued together, we'll be able to let that dry, and then we can go ahead and attach it to the nose. But of course, we have to get the nose kind of squared away first. Not too shabby. There's a little bit of an imperfection right here. Just got to take that off with the knife, and we should be good to go. Now I'm going to move on to future. We need to go ahead and dip our front canopy as well as our dorsal gun canopy into the future, just to go ahead and get those drying so that next episode we may be able to mask, or at least maybe one of the episodes coming up, we'll be able to mask that off and get these things going. Dip this into the future. There we are. I just put them on a nice, clean, dry paper towel. And the nice thing about future is it's self-leveling, and so it will naturally go to the lowest point, which of course is making contact with the paper towel. That should help to kind of just pull that excess off. Let's go ahead and dip the front canopy as well. Just dip that right in and just spread that right down onto the paper towel. Perfect. Not too bad at all. So now we're going to go ahead and shift over to the fuselage. I need to go ahead and do a little bit of work on this seam line. I mentioned last episode that we did have a seam line that was running around here. I've taken a little bit of super glue and I've dropped it onto a couple of points that have a larger kind of a divot in the plastic from the actual injection molds from the sprue. We're going to go ahead and zip those off now. We're going to take down that super glue that I added a little bit ago, and that should help to kind of fair everything together and give it a really nice smooth look. So let's go ahead and get this cracking. We're getting there, everybody. All right, we're going to turn our attention over to the nose. Now we have everything else pretty much ready to go. All the seams are smoothed out, the wings look great, the fuselage looks great, but we have to go ahead and work on this front nose. Now we actually have a plastic nose cone that goes right here on this front end. The issue is though, it's clear, which is odd, at least for this version, because we're actually going to be painting it white. So that's why I'm not going to drop it in future. I'm not going to do anything more. I'm not even going to worry about if it potentially fogs or if I scrape it with sandpaper, because the whole thing is going to get primered and painted with the rest of the aircraft. Eventually, it's going to be painted white. So I'm not exactly worried about the transparency. Now it fits right here with a little bit of a forward slant on the nose. Looks to fit well enough. That should be perfect. Let's go ahead and move on to the engines as well. Now we have to go ahead and build the sidewalls and the front firewall for the right and left engine. This is also going to surround the landing gear bay as well. So let's go ahead and get our parts and pieces out here. We need to do a little bit of cleaning. Once we get all these together, we'll be able to test fit them to the fuselage and make sure that there aren't any huge gaps or anything like that. But I have a pretty good feeling these are going to fit decently enough. Couple of flash marks here and there we need to go ahead and take off with the X-Acto knife. And I think, yeah, it looks pretty decent. There we go. Not too bad. All right, let's go ahead and cue that time lapse and let's get these things built and ready to go. All right, everybody, so we have the drop tanks, the bombs, and we have the nacelles all ready to go. So let me go ahead and show you how these fit on. We're going to pitch the front end in first and then just fold down that back end, touching that wing. Look at that. I don't really see any huge gaps, so I'm happy with it. That's going to be great. But we're going to go ahead and call it quits for today, guys. I've got my bombs all set up. We have to let these dry before we can do any work on those. Same thing with the drop tanks. They went together well enough, but there is a little bit of a seam we have to take care of. So we have a little bit of cleanup to do on the fuselage still. A couple of spots here and there, which I need to add a little bit more super glue, but those are dry and ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and start sanding those down. But let me just go ahead and tell you guys that this has been so much fun. But we're going to go ahead and call it quits for today. So before we close off, I wanted to go ahead and wish everybody a happy and safe holiday season. Today is Christmas Eve here in the States, and tomorrow we have Christmas Day. That's the big one. So we're going to have to see what Santa's brought me in my stocking this year. I have an idea. We've got some kits coming my way. So anyway, guys, I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season, and we will see you back here after the break, everybody. Until then, stay safe. And as always, go out, get yourself some bench time, build something cool, have some fun. We'll see you back here next week on Ben Builds. Thanks so much, everybody. Happy holidays.